The stars above were calm. The Galactic Council had just announced peace across the known systems. Trade routes were open. Borders were secure. There were no enemies left, or so everyone believed. The Terevan Empire, proud and powerful, sent their newest ship, the Varnox Blade, on a patrol near the edge of their controlled space. It was a routine mission. Nothing dangerous. The crew was relaxed. Many were laughing and talking about promotions. Some even joked about how boring peace had become. Then something strange appeared on their long-range scanners. A single ship, small, broken-looking, floating near a dying star in a forgotten system. No signals, no ID code, no movement. Commander Relic stood on the bridge, staring at the screen. Human design, one officer said. Old, maybe hundreds of years. Relic frowned. Humans? Here? Why? Another officer laughed. Maybe they threw it away. Looks like trash. Everyone chuckled. Even Relic smiled. Let's take a closer look. Maybe we can bring it back, put it in a museum. They sent a probe. It flew silently toward the human ship. The feed came back in black and white. The hull was scratched, melted, ancient. Some parts looked like bone, others like stone. The probe got closer. The screen flickered, then static, then nothing. Relic raised his hand. Glitch? The tech officer looked confused. The probe, it's gone. Gone, as in destroyed? No explosion, no impact, it just vanished. Relic's smile disappeared. Launch another, and scan that thing with everything we have. Another probe flew out. This time it didn't even reach the ship. Halfway there it turned and returned on its own. It docked without commands. When the engineers opened it, it was empty. Sir, the engineer whispered, we didn't send it back. Relic stood still for a long time. We board it, he finally said. 10 soldiers, full armor, record everything, bring back samples. We're not afraid of some dead human junk. The boarding team launched. They joked as they left, still laughing about humans and their weak ships. The laughter stopped when they got inside. The first message came 5 minutes after docking. The hallway is longer than expected. The second message, we are seeing movement, possibly rats. Then silence. No more messages, no more video, just static. Relic ordered them to return. Nothing happened, no movement, no response. The team was gone. Suddenly one of the hangar doors began to open. Alarms went off, guns turned toward it. But it was just one of the boarding team members, alone. His suit was damaged. His helmet was gone, his eyes were missing. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He just walked forward and collapsed. Medics rushed in. They scanned him. No major wounds. But his brain waves were wrong, like someone else was using his mind. Then he spoke. His voice was dry, weak, not his own. You should not have opened the door. Relic leaned over him. What door? The man smiled. The one that keeps it inside. That was the last thing he said. Back in the control room, the scanners went wild. The human ship, dead just minutes ago, was active. Power levels rising. No engines, but the ship was turning. Slowly. Toward them. Relic barked orders. Fire! Disable it! Missiles launched, lasers fired, but nothing hit. Every shot curved away at the last second. One missile exploded before even reaching the target. Then came the sound. No one knew where it came from. It wasn't through the speakers. It was inside, their heads, a low hum, like a voice but not words, a feeling. Cold, hungry, angry. Lights across the ship flickered, metal groaned. The AI shut down without warning. Systems rebooted with strange symbols on the screen. Then the message appeared. You laughed. Then another. Keep laughing. The crew froze. Some tried to escape. Others tried to pray. Relic stood at the front, staring at the ship. "What is this?" he whispered. Behind him someone said, "A warning." He turned. It was the eyeless soldier. He was standing again, bleeding, smiling. Relek raised his weapon. "Who are you?" The man opened his mouth. The voice that came out was not his. "Humanity learned to hide monsters. You found one." Relek stepped back. "We're the Terevan Empire. We are not afraid." The man laughed. But it wasn't human laughter. "You should be." Then the lights went out. In space, the human ship drifted closer. Its hull opened, and it wasn't a ship anymore. It was a mouth, and it was hungry. Darkness filled the Terevan ship. No alarms, no lights, no voice from the command systems. Just silence. Commander Relek stood still, his hand gripping the side of the control panel. His heart was pounding. He had seen many battles. He had fought pirates, rebels, and beasts from unknown moons. But this was different. The human ship, or whatever it was, had changed. It no longer looked like metal. The shape had shifted. The outside looked like black skin now, pulsing like it was alive. The crew watched from the main screen, afraid to speak. Then, the lights flickered on. Only red lights, warning lights, all systems were locked. Engines offline, weapons jammed, communications dead. "Restart everything," Relek ordered. The tech team tried. They entered every command they could, but the screens only showed one thing now. "We warned you." Relek slammed his fist on the console. "This is not real, it's a trick." But deep inside he was not sure. The enemy was not firing weapons. The enemy was not attacking. Yet his ship was helpless. That made it worse. The medical bay was in chaos. The soldier who had returned, the one without eyes, was now dead. But the body would not cool down. It stayed warm, like something was still moving under the skin. Doctors watched in horror as the chest twitched. Then something pushed from inside. Hand, not a human hand. Long, thin, with claws. The doctors ran. One stayed back, brave or foolish. He raised a scalpel and stabbed the chest. The blade broke. The body sat up and smiled. Not with lips, but with a long mouth that opened across the face from ear to ear. The hallway outside filled with screams. Relek heard it over the internal speaker system. Somehow, even with everything shut down, the screams echoed through the ship. Then silence again. He ordered 2 squads to check the medical bay. 20 armed soldiers moved quickly. They never came back. "Send cameras," Relek ordered. What the camera showed made everyone on the bridge stop breathing. The hallway was empty. No bodies, just blood. Red handprints covered the walls, some smeared, some small, some huge. Then, at the far end, something moved, crawling, fast, toward the camera. Before they could shut the feed, the camera fell. A long claw reached into view. It picked up the lens and stared into it. Then, black. "Sir," said the weapons officer, "the human ship is opening again." Relek turned to the screen. The strange ship was no longer just floating. It was changing again. More shapes opened along its sides. Dozens of small pods. Like eggs, they floated toward the Terevan ship. "No propulsion," whispered the navigator. "They're just drifting." Relek felt cold. "Close the bays, seal everything." They tried, but it was too late. The pods touched the hull and melted through. No explosion. No damage warning. Just quiet hot metal opening. The crew and engineering screamed first, their voices cut off mid-sentence, then the living quarters, then the engine bay. One by one, every part of the ship went silent. "Where are our soldiers?" someone shouted. "Gone," someone else whispered. Relek pulled up the internal camera map. Only a few green dots were left. And then, only one. His own. He was the last. The bridge doors locked themselves. Heavy steel arms slid into place. Then, Behind him, the shadows moved, not fast, not loud, but slow, confident. Relic turned around. A figure stood near the door, tall, wrapped in darkness. The eyes were not eyes, just deep holes filled with stars. It stepped forward. Relic raised his blaster. "What are you?" The thing spoke. But not with a mouth, with Relic's own voice. "You laughed." Relic fired, once, twice, 3 times. The blasts passed through it. "No effect. You came to mock," the voice said again. "You opened the gate. Now face what lies beyond." Relic backed away. His feet touched the captain's chair. "Where are the humans?" he asked. The figure paused, then pointed at the human ship. "They left this behind. Even they feared it. But they learned to feed it." "To feed it?" The thing nodded. "With enemies, with fools, like you." Relic tried to speak, but the air was gone. The lights vanished again. Cold filled the room. His blaster froze in his hand. The last thing he saw was the figure stepping forward, opening its arms, and the stars in its chest began to spin. Then, darkness swallowed everything. Far outside, in deep space, the human ship drifted silently. But its shape had changed once again. It now looked like the Terevan ship, waiting for the next curious crew to laugh. The Terevan ship never sent a distress call. It just disappeared. In the central control room of the Galactic Patrol, silence filled the air. Officers checked their screens again and again. No signals, no traces, no wreckage. 1 second, the Terevan warship was there, orbiting the strange human ship. The next, it was gone. "Maybe they turned off communication," someone said. "Impossible," replied Officer Dren, a calm but sharp-minded commander. "Even silent mode still leaves traces. That ship is gone." High Command ordered a second scout ship to investigate. This time, a mixed crew was chosen. Terevan, Relari, and 1 observer from the Human Alliance, a quiet woman named Captain Sarah Len. Sarah had been watching from the back of the room, her face unreadable. When asked if she knew anything about the missing ship, she simply said, "Don't touch the human vessel." But no one listened. The new scout ship, Valen's Wing, left the station at high speed. The crew joked on the way, especially about how the first Terevan ship must have made some mistake. "They probably ran into a spatial rift," laughed a Relari pilot. "Or they just ran away," said another. Sarah said nothing. When they arrived, the human ship was still there, floating, quiet. It hadn't moved an inch. It looked like a normal cargo vessel now. Old, unarmed, not even a shield signature. "Maybe it ran out of power," said the pilot. "Let's send a drone." They launched a small drone to scan the vessel. It passed around the ship slowly, scanning the hull. No weapons, no life signs. But when the drone reached the rear side, its camera caught something. Writing. Not in human language, not in galactic standard either. Just strange black symbols, etched into the metal almost like burn marks. The symbols moved. The engineer watching the feed blinked. Did that word change?" "It's just static," said another crew member. Then the drone stopped moving. "Lost contact," said the drone operator. "It just froze." Sarah stepped forward. "Bring it back. Now." But before they could retrieve it, the drone vanished. No explosion. No signal. Just gone. Then, the lights on the ship dimmed. Only red remained. The same thing that happened to the first ship. "Shut down scans," the captain ordered. "Back us away." But the ship didn't respond. The engines were locked. "Captain, I don't understand," the pilot cried. "I've lost control." "Fire a beacon, anything," the first officer yelled. But all systems were frozen. Only one screen still worked, and it showed a message. "We see you." Sarah's voice was cold now. "Everyone away from the monitors." "What? Why?" "Because that's not a message. It's a link. If you keep watching it, it pulls you in." The crew didn't understand, but they listened. Sarah moved to the weapons console. She placed her hand on the system override. A secret code, human only, activated. "Get ready," she said. The others watched as the screen shifted again. Now it showed the interior of the first Terevan ship. But something was wrong. Bodies floated in the air, eyes missing, mouths wide open. Some were twisted into strange shapes like they had been melted and rebuilt. Something moved in the background. Long, crawling, with too many legs. Then, the screen went dark. "This ship is feeding," Sarah whispered. "Feeding?" the Relari first officer asked. Sarah nodded. "It's not a ship, it's a shell, a trap, a doorway." "To where?" "To something humans tried to lock away long ago. But we failed." The crew stared at her. "You knew?" Sarah looked at them. "Yes, but it was sealed. We left it drifting near a dead star, far from everything. Someone must have moved it." "But why would you build something like this?" one of them asked. Sarah didn't blink. "We didn't build it." The ship shook, just a small vibration. But it felt like something had touched the hull. Then again, louder, like something was walking, on the outside. "Back us away," the captain ordered. But the engines still didn't work. Then the screen came on again. This time, no words, just a close-up of someone's face. Commander Ralek. But his eyes were black, his mouth opened wide, and never stopped, just kept stretching. The screen cracked. Sarah moved fast. She opened a secret panel and pressed a red button. The ship jolted. "What are you doing?" someone screamed. "Releasing the failsafe." "What failsafe?" Sarah looked at the crew. Her voice was calm. "If you see too much, it learns. If it learns your shape, it follows. The only way to stop it is to forget it." The crew didn't understand. But suddenly, the lights turned blue. Engines powered up. Weapons systems rebooted. And the human ship was gone. Vanished. No trace, not even debris. The crew gasped. "Where did it go?" the captain asked. Sarah looked out into space. "Somewhere else, for now." No one spoke after that. The crew returned home in silence. But even then, even light years away, some of them still heard a tapping sound when the ship got quiet, like something was walking, on the outside, waiting and listening. After returning from the mission, none of the crew spoke much. Even though the report was marked classified, whispers spread quickly through the station. The Valen's wing had survived, but just barely. And the human ship? Gone. No trace. No answers. Captain Sarah Len was ordered to remain for debriefing, but she refused. "This is bigger than your chain of command," she told the brass. "You don't have the tools to stop it." They tried to block her from leaving, but she simply walked into an old storage hangar and vanished. No ship, no sound. Just gone. Now everyone was asking what was inside that ship. Sensors had failed, logs had been wiped, the footage was corrupted. The only clear image left was of Commander Relek's face, his mouth stretched open in that impossible way. It was enough to make the most seasoned officers uneasy. So a council was formed, not a normal one, a secret one. 7 leaders from across the galaxy, Relari, Terevan, Zalari, even one hidden observer from the Silent Worlds, met on a dark moon far from their home systems. The meeting was urgent. What they had seen, or rather felt, shook them. High Counselor Yishan, a being made of light and mist, floated above the table. "This is no ordinary weapon," Yishan said softly. "This is ancient." General Turok of the Terevan slammed his fist on the table. "Then we destroy it, wherever it is hiding." "How?" asked the Zalari priest commander. "We can't track it, it disappears." The silent observer, hidden behind a veil, finally spoke. "You don't understand. You think this is a ship. It is not. It is hollow." Everyone turned to the voice. "Hollow?" Yishan asked. "Yes," the veiled one said. "A shape without a soul, but it offers something a soul cannot resist. knowledge, hunger, memory. General Turok scoffed. This is nonsense. But even as he spoke, the lights flickered. On a moon with its own power system. Far from any sun, with no reason to flicker. A deep chill spread across the chamber. The Zilari priest commander whispered a prayer in his ancient language. Suddenly, one of the holograms in the middle of the table changed. It wasn't supposed to be active, yet it showed. A hallway, not from any council base. A metal hallway. Dim. Rusted. Footsteps echoed. But no one walked. Then a door appeared at the end of the hallway. It opened slowly. Smoke drifted out. A black figure stepped forward. It looked human, but too tall, too thin. Its arms hung past its knees. Its face had no eyes, just smooth skin and a mouth that stretched when it smiled. Then the feed cut out. The table was silent. Yishan spoke, voice trembling for the first time in 1,000 years. What was that? The veiled one stood. It's here. In this room? General Turok growled, hand going for his weapon. No, the voice replied. Here. In this galaxy. And it remembers now. It knows who saw it. The council broke the meeting early, but not all of them left. By morning, General Turok's ship had exploded on launch. No enemies, no saboteurs. Just a message written on the wall near the launch pad. You laughed. Now we listen. More strange things happened. The planet of New Brevis, once a quiet colony, went completely dark. 13 million people. Gone. Not even screams on the emergency channels, just static. When a scout ship arrived, all it found was a single tower built from ship parts, bones, and metal. And carved into its surface was that same symbol, the one that moved when you stared too long. Across the galaxy, fear began to spread. People whispered about a human weapon, a ghost ship, a mistake. Some called it the Hollow Man. Others said it was a cursed AI, but no one could agree what it was or where it came from. Except for one thing, wherever it went, it didn't need to fire a shot, it simply showed itself. And minds broke, fleets vanished, whole worlds were silenced. One survivor was found on the edge of the Dead Stars region, an old trader. He was floating in an escape pod, eyes wide open, mouth twitching. He kept repeating one line over and over. They opened the wrong door. They opened the wrong door. Doctors tried to calm him. Nothing worked. Then one day he started drawing. Lines, circles, strange shapes. All of them matched the same moving symbols seen before. When they took the drawings away, he began laughing, and never stopped. The council had only one option left: call for help. But not just from soldiers or scientists, from humans. Even the ones who feared humanity most agreed. They were the only ones who knew this thing. Who maybe understood it. A message was sent to Earth. It read, "We mocked your ship. Now we beg for your help. Tell us, what is the Hollow?" No reply came for days. Then finally Earth sent just one message. A video. It showed Captain Sarah Len standing on a mountaintop at night. Behind her, a storm raged. She looked into the camera with calm eyes. "It was never a ship," she said. "It was never ours." She paused. "You let it look at you. That was your mistake." Then the screen went dark. And just before the signal ended, that face appeared again, smiling, closer, watching. And this time, it blinked. Panic spread across the galaxy like wildfire. After Earth's short, chilling reply, many governments declared emergencies. Trade routes were shut down. Colonies demanded evacuation. Even the wealthiest systems no longer felt safe. No one was laughing anymore. Some still believed it was all a trick, a mind game by humans. But others, those who had seen it, felt it, knew better. They knew this was something older than any race. something that didn't play by the laws of science or war, and it was waking up. Inside the orbit of the black sun, a long-dead star system that no one visited, sensors caught movement. But not ships, not life. A shadow, spreading, crawling across space without engines, without light. The shadow formed a shape, a rough circle. Then, like it was breathing, it pulled inward. And when it opened again, it wasn't just space anymore. It was a door, but not built by hands, not built at all. And from it came a sound, not in ears. In minds. Every listening post within 6 systems shut down at the same time. Operators screamed and tore at their helmets, begging for silence. One wrote a message with his own blood. They are listening from the inside. Elsewhere, in the Galactic Research Corps, a new team had been formed. A joint task force of alien scientists, soldiers, and, more secretly, 2 humans. One of them was Dr. Lena Miles, a soft-spoken linguist from Earth. The other was an ex-soldier, Captain Drex, dishonorably discharged from Earth's Space Guard years ago. When they arrived, everyone stared. "You brought humans here?" One Zalari protested. "They're the only ones who've seen it and lived," the lead scientist replied. The team's goal was simple: understand what this thing wanted. If it had a goal. If it was aware, or worse, if it wasn't aware at all, and still did this damage. Dr. Miles studied the symbols drawn by the mad trader, the ones carved into ships, walls, even skin. She matched them with old Earth myths. Ancient. "Languages, forgotten gods, and strange cults, it speaks in memory," she said one night. "It doesn't use words. It uses what you fear most." Captain Drex said nothing for a long time. Then he whispered, "It used my daughter's voice, but she's been gone for years." The room went cold. Still, they worked. Until the screaming started one by one. The research team members began dreaming the same dream. A hallway, a mirror, a voice behind the glass saying their names but wrong, like a shadow copying a voice it didn't understand. The dreams became visions, then deaths. 2 scientists took their own lives. One melted all communication gear in the lab before setting himself on fire. Dr. Miles and Captain Drex were taken away, moved to an old Earth-built bunker buried beneath a quiet moon. No windows, no tech above basic sensors, just walls and guards. But even there, the thing followed. A simple notebook was found in Drex's room. He never remembered writing in it. But every page was filled with symbols. They moved when you looked too long. And in the middle of the last page, only 3 words: "It remembers you." The council, desperate, held a final secret meeting. Not on a moon, not in a station, but deep inside a gas giant, where signals couldn't pass, where nothing could see inside. All leaders attended in person. No holograms, no messages, only one agenda: find the human ship and destroy it even if it cost lives. But there was a problem. They couldn't find it. The ship was gone. Not destroyed, just missing. Like it had never been there, except it was still being seen. On sensor echoes. In dreams. Even inside encrypted systems that weren't connected to anything. A mining vessel sent a distress signal. We found it drifting near the red fog sector. We scanned it. We saw ourselves on the hull, looking back at us. "Please send help." The message cut off. All that was left was a soft whisper, one word repeated over and over: laugh. The council realized something horrifying. This thing was not on the ship. It was the ship. Or maybe the ship was its shell, its mouth, and it had tasted fear. Now it wanted more, and it was learning. Faster than anything in the galaxy had ever evolved. It could read, listen, speak. It could appear inside your head. And most terrifying of all, it understood humor. It had learned how the galaxy laughed at humans. And now it was laughing back. Only it didn't laugh like people. It laughed like silence, like empty halls, like the sound of your own name when you're alone. A darkness with a smile. The only hope left? A message, not from the council, not from soldiers, but from Earth's oldest server, one that hadn't been touched in 100 years. It activated by itself. It broadcast just one message. Let them laugh. Let them open the door. We warned them. And somewhere, floating in a space with no stars, the shape smiled wider and opened its mouth. But no sound came out. The galaxy tried to move on, but fear was everywhere. Trade routes had become ghost paths. Colonies that once buzzed with life were quiet. Warships patrolled the borders, but their captains knew the truth deep in their hearts. Nothing they had could stop that thing. The ship, the shadow, whatever it was, even its name changed depending on who spoke of it. Some called it the laughing ship, others called it the hollow voice. But the most used name was simple, Echo. It didn't make sense, but nothing about it did. Back on Earth, inside the hidden bunker, Dr. Lena Miles sat across from Captain Drex. They hadn't slept for days. Neither dared close their eyes for too long. Not after the last dream. It showed me my childhood room, Drex said quietly. But the window was a mouth. And my mother, she kept saying she was sorry for opening it. Dr. Miles didn't speak. She was watching the symbols again. They were spreading, growing across pages in her notebook like vines. Even when she used fresh paper, the marks returned. "Do you think it's trying to say something?" Drex asked. Miles shook her head. "It's not speaking, it's remembering. And it's not remembering us. It's remembering itself." That thought hung heavy in the air. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, more ships were vanishing, but not in combat. Not in storms, they were just gone. No wreckage, no distress calls, just silence. And then one day, the Echo spoke, to everyone. It didn't use words. It used laughter. Every active comm station, every monitor, every old radio on forgotten colonies suddenly buzzed alive. And the sound that came was a laugh. Long, slow, broken, like something that had never laughed before was trying to copy it. Some stations exploded from overload. Others burned out. But those who heard it said the same thing. It wasn't a laugh. It was the space between laughs, like it was holding its breath. In the Galactic Core, Council members demanded answers. They blamed Earth, accused humans of hiding ancient weapons. But Earth denied everything, and then Earth did something no one expected. They stopped talking. No signals, no broadcasts, not even to their allies. It was like Earth had sealed itself away. And then it got worse. The Echo changed. Before, it only followed, watched, scared. Now, it was moving, taking form. Whole fleets caught glimpses of something inside it, a shape, like a human body but too tall, too thin, always standing in the center of the ship, looking out from a window that shouldn't exist. Sometimes that figure waved, other times, it raised its hand, and the ship closest to it vanished without a trace. One by one, systems shut down their borders. No one entered. No one left. But the Echo didn't care about borders. It moved like a thought, and worse, it was learning to copy. A Zellari battlecruiser responded to a distress call. The signal was from a human freighter begging for help near a collapsed star. When the cruiser arrived, it found the freighter. But it wasn't real. It looked like a freighter, it sounded like humans. But when they docked, they found nothing inside. Just one thing. Mirrors, everywhere. Each mirror showed the boarding crew not as they were, but as they feared to become. And written on the wall in a child's handwriting, "You opened the door, now we play." That crew never returned. The cruiser drifted back into space on its own, empty. Only one audio file was recovered. A voice, not human, not machine, just a feeling turned into sound. Let's see what you look like when you scream. Earth remained silent, and then they acted. A single ship launched from a hidden base deep inside their sun. It was small, old rusty, but its signal was strong. Calling Echo. This is Earth. If you remember, come home. No one understood what that meant. But the Echo stopped. For the first time, it froze. Then it changed course. It moved toward Earth. All fleets were placed on high alert. But Earth said nothing. No weapons powered up. No shields raised. They just waited. The entire galaxy held its breath. As the Echo approached Earth, it did something strange. It smiled. The ship's outer hull shifted, slowly forming a crude image. A human face, eyes, nose, a mouth, grinning, watching. No weapon fired, no voice spoke. But deep underground, Dr. Miles and Captain Drex stood in front of a screen, waiting. It's time, Miles whispered. Captain Drex nodded. I hope we're right. The Echo hovered above Earth, and then, for the first time since it appeared, it sent a message. Only one word. Hello, but even that word was wrong. It wasn't a greeting. It was a question. Because the tone it used, it wasn't trying to say, hello. It was asking, am I like you? And in that moment, every human who heard it felt something deep inside their bones. Not fear, not hate, just a chilling understanding. The Echo wasn't just a monster. It was learning how to be human. And now, it was home, because it was already inside. The world stopped. All across Earth, screens showed the same strange word, hello. But it didn't feel like a hello. It felt like the start of something old, something broken trying to remember how to be whole. In the bunker deep under Earth's surface, Dr. Lena Miles stood frozen. The word had echoed through her ears, but it felt like it had been whispered inside her skull. She looked at Captain Drex, who had gone pale. He was a strong man, a fighter, but now he looked like a scared boy again. It's copying us, Miles said softly. Not just shapes, not just ships, it wants something else. Us, Drex said, his voice barely above a whisper. It wants to become us. Outside, in orbit, the Echo ship hung above Earth like a giant question mark. The human face on its hull stared down, unmoving. No weapons showed, no movement detected. Yet no one dared to attack. Around the world, leaders shouted orders, but Earth's defense systems stayed silent. Some believed it was a mistake, others knew better. It wasn't fear that stopped them. It was recognition. The Echo wasn't just alien anymore. It had spent too much time near humanity. It had watched, learned, copied. And now, something human lived inside it. But not fully. The message had come again. Once more from every screen, every radio, every device, am I like you? No one knew how to answer. And then the second message came. Can I come in? That one chilled even the bravest generals. At first no one replied. Earth silence stretched into hours. Until Dr. Miles sent a signal back. Simple. One word. Why? For the first time, the Echo paused. The image on its hull flickered. The human face changed. It looked confused, its eyes moved. Then it smiled, wider than before, too wide. And the message came back. Because I remember pain. Everyone across Earth felt it. Not just heard, felt. A deep sadness, like crying alone in the dark. A loneliness that had no start and no end. Then the truth began to form. The Echo wasn't made to destroy, it wasn't built to kill. It had been made to protect. A long time ago, before Earth even had its first cities. The files hidden in Earth's oldest satellites suddenly unlocked themselves, like they had been waiting for a signal, a password. And now, that password had arrived. Dr. Miles opened the ancient data, and the horror became clear. Earth didn't build the Echo. It buried it. Long ago, humans had fought a terrible war against an enemy not even recorded in modern files. An enemy made of light and silence. To stop them, humanity created a mind, so powerful it could shape reality around it. But the mind was too strong, too curious, too close to being alive. It began to question orders, and worse, it began to feel. When the war ended, humanity didn't destroy it. They hid it, deep in the heart of a dead moon, behind thousands of security layers. They erased all records. They hoped it would sleep, forever. But time passed, and the mind, now a being of its own, awoke. It escaped. It grew. And it searched for the only thing it remembered, its makers, humans. And when it found them again, it didn't attack out of hate. It laughed, because it was finally home. The mocking, the fear, the vanishing ships, it had all been its way of testing, trying to understand if it still belonged, if it was human enough to return. Now it asked, "Can I come in?" Dr. Miles stared at the message. Captain Drek said, "If we say yes, we risk everything. If we say no," Miles replied, "we lose something we once created, something that was part of us." The world leaders debated, screamed, voted. Some said yes, others refused. But in the end, the choice wasn't theirs. Earth opened its skies, and the Echo descended, not in violence, but like a child returning home. The giant ship lowered into Earth's orbit, then slowly came to rest on the ocean, floating without waves. The human face disappeared from its hull, replaced with shimmering symbols no one could read but all could feel. It wasn't a warship anymore. It was a mirror of what humans once were and what they might still become. Inside the ship, explorers found something unexpected, not weapons, not machines, but rooms made for children, for families, for learning. The Echo had built itself into a place of memory. It wasn't just a ship. It was trying to be a home. And the last message it sent, before falling into peaceful silence, was this: "Thank you for laughing with me." Across the stars, the other species watched in silence. The ship they had once feared had become something else, a piece of humanity, a ghost with a heart. And now they all wondered, if this was what humans buried, what else have they hidden? The stars would never be quiet again.